Previous session we discussed about what are the requirements for the cluster. Yeah. Out of 5 resources, we understood that what is motherboard, what is CPU, memory, and network and storage. And there is no shared storage available on the environment. Then we created a shared storage. Okay. How did we create a shared storage? We created a lab that iSCSI target server. By using iSCSI target server, we completed the shared storage for the ESXi host. Okay, how did we configure and how did we assign everything? We recorded the session. Just watch, and you can search the internet for how to configure iSCSI target server. It is pretty simple. Okay, now come back to the topic. Open the browser. Just type vMotion. vMotion. Just enter. Now, first article, whatever the article is, that first article, open that first article. Now, the important feature, what is going to happen, how it is going to perform. This cluster is how the HF feature is going to work, how this DRS feature is going to work. We understood that what are the pre-requirements till now. Now we are going to understand what is the technology behind this HA and DRS. Let's see this particular topic. This is a graphical representation, how it is going to work. It is a clear KB article so that you can understand each and everything. Let's go with what is a vMotion. vMotion is nothing but it is a technology by VMware. It is going to perform a VM migration, the VM migration from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. So to move this ESXi host from one ESXi host to another ESXi host, what are the prerequisites we discussed about? What are the prerequisites? Those 5 components, we understood that. The first component, motherboard. The motherboard is available on the same both the ESXi host and the virtualization layer. Virtualization layer is going to provide motherboard, CPU, memory. These 3 components are available, which is going to provide resources for each VM. Okay. Now, what we are going to do now, network. What is the network is going to play an important role here. The same network should be available on both the ESXi host. The VM is establishing communication from the ESXi host to outside world. So the same communication should not impact another ESXi host also. Then only the VM can migrate from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. If you see in this diagram, in this particular information, see this particular network, the same network is available on this ESXi host and the same network is available on another place also. See? So what is the requirement? On both ESXi host, the same network should be available so that the VM can communicate even after moving from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. It is move to another ESXi host and establish communication, the same communication to outside world by using the same network. What is important here? We need to make sure whatever the port group is connected on this ESXi host, the same port group and same VLAN ID information should be available on another ESXi host. See, that's why I mentioned what is the IP range, network. Here, the network and everything they are going to denote by slash subnet, slash 24. Slash 24 is a, what is a slash 24? It's a default subnet by default. Slash 24 means subnet value 255.255.255.0. That is slash 24. In a network, wherever you identify the network slash subnet, that is a subnet. Okay, they are not going to use the 255 concept. If they use 8, that in the sense, in the subnet value, it is 255.0.0.0. That is it. So here, what we need to understand, the same network should be available on both ESXi hosts to establish communication for the respective virtual machine that is there. Here, see, whatever the network is there on ESXi host 1, the same network is available on ESXi host 2. Same network in the sense, we are going to configure for the VM. VM, we are going to assign a network adapter, right? That network adapter is going to assign a port group, virtual machine port group, right? That switch, vSwitch we create, and on vSwitch, we create a port group. Whatever the port group is available on ESXi host 1 and ESXi host 2, also same name, not even space, not even letters, okay? Whatever the port group name is available on ESXi host 1, same port group with the same name should be available on ESXi host 2. That is a network requirement to perform migration from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. Next, what is the storage we discussed about? Storage should be a shared storage. Shared storage in the sense, from both the ESXi host, both the ESXi hosts should see one particular common storage, so that VM, whatever the VM we are going to create on both ESXi host, we are going to use shared storage to create a VM. Either if you are planning to deploy a VM on ESXi host 1, we are going to use the storage. The storage here, nothing but a data store. The data store should be common between these two ESXi hosts, and whatever the VM we are going to deploy on any one of the ESXi hosts should reside, should be there on shared data store. If the VM is there on local data store, which is accessible to only respective ESXi host, I cannot perform migration. Okay, I cannot perform migration because that VM files, what are the files, what are the VMX file, what is a VMDK file, all the folder, if it is available on a local data store, if it is available on local data store, the other ESXi host cannot see the content of the VM, so that the perform of migration is not going to possible. So vMotion is a technology. It is used to migrate the VM from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. To perform vMotion, what are the requirements? We discussed about 5 components. How to achieve those 5 components, we understood that now. Okay. Now, to perform a vMotion, okay, go through this article. There is a step-by-step. Go back, take the control, slowly come down. See, the storage is subsystem. Open this article. No, not that one, not that one. The top one. You can understand different articles are available. You can understand, okay, how it is going to work. Go through this article. You can get a clear understanding. Come down little. Storage subsystem plays the first key role. What is the first key role? Because it should require a shared storage. Without shared storage, we cannot migrate. Where the VMX file will be there, VMX file is nothing but CPU configuration, motherboard configuration, RAM configuration, and all those things. All those things where it is available, it is a VMX file. Where that VMX file located? On a storage. That storage is a key factor for migration. That is what the storage subsystem plays as the first key role. Okay. The second, action. The memory manager plays a second key role. What memory manager it is going to perform second key role? It is here, this memory management is going to work in vMotion technology, how it is going to work. Migration, vMotion is nothing but a migration. So the server is running on one ESXi host. What it is going to work? It is going to execute some memory. It is going to use the ESXi host physical memory to execute respect to virtual machine. this memory system, how it is going to play an important role in vMotion, it is going to execute. You should understand the memory technology little bit here. What is a memory technology? Whatever the pages, you should understand what is active pages, what is ideal pages, okay, which is required to work that respective system. Active pages in the sense, whatever the actions, what are the system file, what are the services are running for the respective operating system, those actions are going to execute on the memory. That pages, we call it as active pages. What is ideal pages? For example, I'm opening a WordPad or Notepad on my system. I'm not using that notepad for a certain time. I'm working on some other application on the same server. But notepad is in a application running on the server where it is running on the memory. But I'm not using for a second, for a fraction of second, fraction of moment. What that memory content is executing on the memory, it is ideal for some time. That time we call it as ideal pages. There is no action is executing, there is no requirement to execute on the memory. So now this active pages and ideal pages, it is going to work in a 3 phases migration. What it is going to do, as soon as migration initiates, this memory, what are the ideal pages available? For example, the 4 GB memory is there to assign to virtual machine. After 4 GB, 3 GB memory is an ideal pages. Sometimes it is not using memory utilization, maybe 5% or 10% on the system. Out of 10% of utilization, some ideal pages will be there. That ideal pages will move from one ESXi host to another ESXi host through vMotion. How it is going to configure, I'm going to configure, we'll see that. So this active pages and ideal pages are going to, ideal pages, it identifies the ideal pages which is not required to execute. Those ideal pages will move first from source ESXi host to destination ESXi host. This phase, first phase, all ideal pages will move from one ESXi host to another ESXi. At last phase, the second phase, again, it is going to check, is there any additional ideal pages available to move from source to destination. At last phase, what it is going to do is, it is going to suspend the VM for a fraction of second. Suspend the VM for a fraction of second, and all active pages, whatever the active pages are there in the memory layer, that active pages will transfer from ESXi host to another ESXi host and resume the operation on the destination ESXi host. This suspension, during this suspension, what it is going to do, it is going to place an important role. It is remaps all the pointers. It remaps whatever the instructions are going to come from the VM. It is going to map to respective ESXi host to provide the instructions, CPU instructions, memory instructions, all those pointers. It will map to destination ESXi host and resume the suspension, removes the suspension, so that whatever the further instructions are going to come, it is going to reach to say destination ESXi host virtualization layer. So here in this memory technology, it is going to suspend in the third phase. First phase, it identifies the ideal pages, migrate the VM, migrate the content to another ESXi host. Second phase, again it is identifies, is there any ideal pages available? Again it migrates. At final phase, it is going to suspend the VM for a fraction of second. Even user is not going to notice. We are not, okay? There is no downtime. This suspension, during the suspension, that entire pointers removes, it pointers move from this source to destination ESXi host. Once that migration is complete, the suspension will remove and resume the operation, and whatever the VM sends the instruction, sends the requirement, resource requirement, everything will reach to destination virtualization layer. That's it. This migration is going to complete. Come down, the network role. Virtual switch network plays a final role. What is this virtual network? I need to establish communication, right? From this, it is still now it is communicating, it is using on the source server, it is using the physical ports to send the communications, to send the packet communication. Simply, and the final role, what it is going to during the suspension and resume operation, the packet, whatever the packets are sending from the virtual machine, everything will redirect and access to from the destination. Here, in this migration, we call it as a ARP table, ARP, ARP table. It is going to how to send the communication, what is my source and destination. This ARP table for each operating system, this ARP table is going to execute, is going to update on its own whenever there is a network change or a network function change. This ARP table on the each operating system layer is going to update ARP table. Who is my destination? How to send a packet? Everything it is going to update this ARP table. This is a final step on the respective virtual machine. It is going to update the ARP table. Who is my destination? How can I send packet from my virtual machine operating system outside? How can I reach packet? Everything the ARP table ARP. Go to internet and search understanding what is ARP. ARP table. Okay, it is by default for every operating system. It is going to update on its own. Either it could be Windows Server, it could be Linux server, any operating system. As soon as you enable network connection, the ARP table is going to get updates. Okay, to who is my destination, how to send the packet to outside. This is all about vMotion. Now, go to internet, search the vMotion topic as per your understanding. There are different articles are available, different videos are available. For better understanding, you should understand what is vMotion. The vMotion is the technology works under background of HADRS to work cluster feature HADRS. To work HADRS, this vMotion is required as a backbone. Without understanding vMotion, you cannot configure HA and DRS. First, understand what is the cluster features. We understood that. What are the components are required? We understood that. Now, what is the technology it is going to use to migrate a VM from one ESXi host to another ESXi host? Now, go back to this lab, open the vCenter server. Now, it's a time to configure the vMotion network. Now, right-click on any VM, right-click on any VM. Migrate option, select migrate. Is it a grayed out or highlighted? Migrate option. Yeah, it has come. See here, the problem is here. It is not showing the option. Migrate option has come, but see here, change host, it is disabled. Change data store, move the virtual machine storage to another data store. That is enabled. That in the sense, this particular VM, I can migrate from this particular data store to another data store. Let's go ahead and do it. What is a storage migration? What is vMotion migration? Storage, vMotion, live vMotion. Okay, next, let's see next what is going to show you. It is a power on server. Let's go ahead. See, only one data store is available. If the server is already running on the same data store, where to migrate? I don't have any destination data store to migrate. Currently, this server is running on the local data store. What is the prerequisite is to migrate the data, to migrate the server from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. This particular server, this particular virtual machine should be on a shared storage. Okay, so I need to make a shared data store which is accessible for both the ESXi hosts. First, we need to perform that. To perform that, what we need to do, we need to create a shared data store. So cancel here. In previous session, we created a shared storage. Let's use that LAN, same LAN. We are going to create a data store, shared data store. Select the ESXi host. We configured ISKC initiator, and we understood that how the disks are available. Now go to configuration. Click storage. Under storage adapters, we already assigned ISKC target. Previous session, we configured ISKC target, and we noticed that there are 3 data stores are available. Okay, 3 LANs are new devices are available. See here, these data stores, whatever the data store device type, it is showing as a local, isn't it? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a data store. Is that storage available to create a data store? Okay. Now add storage. Click on add storage. Disk or LAN or network file system. We already assigned configured ISKC target that comes as a device. So we are going to use disk and LAN. Select next. Check the cancel and check the devices are visible, because we need to refresh the score. Rescan the devices, go to storage adapters and check ISKC adapter is available, but it is showing a 0 devices. What I need to do a rescan. So because this is a lab environment, what happens is here we shut down the server, the storage server, we shut down the whatever the storage we created, that is ISKC target server. It is created on the one of the ESXi hosts. If you shut down that server, this ISKC initiator will down. Okay. Whenever the lab is going to start, we are going to start the server. So we need to rescan. See, the devices has come 3. Now go back to the storage. Click on storage. Now add storage. Click on add storage. Yes, click next. Say there are 3 devices are available. Okay, I need to choose the size and to migrate a VM. Whatever the VM I am going to migrate, that size should be migrate to that respective data store. My current VM which I am planning to migrate is 40 GB, running with 40 GB. So I need a LAN size more than 40 GB so that I can migrate from the local data store to the shared data store. Okay, select 100 GB. Next. Next. Give the data store name. Okay, shared data store. No space. Better to not to keep any spaces. Okay, you can keep hyphen or underscore. Okay, better to not to provide any spaces. Okay, shared data store 1. Data store is a single word. Shared data store 1. You can mention in the live environment how they are going to mention is SAN. For example, the SAN device is coming for the production data store. They are going to mention is a fiber channel disk SAN underscore or hyphen the prod LAN. Whatever the array it is coming, is it coming from the storage servers or a NFS, whatever it may be. They are going by seeing the data store name, they can understand that particular data store is working from the respective storage array. Is it a fiber channel? Is it a NFS? Everything by seeing the data store name, they can understand what data store is for purpose. Is it a production data store or a test data store? What server it is going to host? Everything they're going to mention the name. Okay. Click next. Yes, maximum size. I'm not going to resize. Yes, finish. The data store is going to create, and the shared storage, how it is going to come. I'm going to create a data store on ESXi host 1. If it is a data store, is a shared data store, automatically what will happen under this particular server, ESXi host or whatever the cluster is available, the shared data store is going to visible on second data store as second ESXi host as well. Go on the second ESXi host, go to right click on the ESXi host 2, right click, rescan for data store. Don't do that now, just wait. Go to configuration. Is the storage visible or not? Just go and see. Go to storage. Here, whatever this data store I created, it is not visible because it is not detected the shared storage. What I need to do, I need to rescan. I can do rescan from here, or else right click on the ESXi host, rescan for data store. Yes, rescan for data store. Click OK. What it is going to, it is going to refresh the devices, it is going to refresh the data stores. Click OK. What are the physical devices are available, it is going to decide. See here, what happens? Now, whatever I created a shared storage, whatever shared storage is available, the same storage assigned, the same storage is assigned to both the ESXi host from the ISKC target server. That's the reason the same 100 GB I created a data store on ESXi host 1. The same data store is reflected to another ESXi host. So what is the type of storage? I know that it is a shared storage. What is the device type? It is a MSFT, Microsoft ISKC disk. If it is a SanDisk, here it is going to come as a fiber channel. If it is IBM storage, it is going to show as IBM SCSI channel, IBM fiber channel. If it is a HPS fiber, it is going to show as HP storage array. If it is a different, what different types of storage devices are available to provide SAN requirement, network filer requirement, NAS storage requirement. Whatever the device you are going to attach, it is going to show here that respective device type. First data store is a local data store. Second one is a MSFT. This MSFT, it is coming from Microsoft ISKC target server. That's the reason the device store is showing as a MSFT. Okay. Now we completed the shared storage. Now let's go ahead and migrate this particular VM. What are the VM we are targeting? Let's migrate. Right click on AD server. Again, this is a 40 GB server. I'm going to migrate this server to perform a vMotion. What is the before performing vMotion? What I need to make sure? I need to make sure the storage should be there on a shared storage. The server files, what are the VM files, should be there on a shared storage. Then only I can perform a vMotion. Okay. Right click migrate. Before perform migrate, we'll see one thing. Let's cancel this. We'll configure the vMotion network first. Why this change host is not highlighted, why it is not highlighted, we'll see. Go to, we are going to configure vMotion. Where to configure vMotion network on ESXi host. Okay, right, ESXi, click ESXi host, go to configuration tab, go to networking. We have a management interface. What I'm going to do is the management network, I'm going to enable a vMotion and management network. vMotion is going to work as a management layer wherein the transfer, whatever they discuss, whatever the points we discuss, the movement of migration, everything is going to happen over the vMotion network. We are going to create a vMotion network to perform the migrations. As there is no vMotion network configured, that's the reason that VM migrate option disabled from change host option disabled. let's do configure vMotion network. How to do that? To perform a vMotion configuration, we need to select the respective ESXi host and go to networking, go to properties. In enterprise environment, not here, switch properties, where we are going to configure vMotion network where is available. We are going to configure. Click properties on the switch properties. Yes. See here, I can add click add. See here, I'm going to manage. I need a management interface to perform a vMotion function. Do I need to create a port group, virtual machine port group, or a VM kernel port group? If you select VM kernel port group, there is an option, see vSphere vMotion. The VM kernel TCP IP handles traffic, the following ESXi services, vSphere vMotion, that we are going to enable. If it is a different network, different ports are available, different physical ports are available for vMotion traffic, then I'm going to configure separate switch. I'm going to configure vMotion on the respective vSwitch. Okay, go back to the vSwitch configuration, how to create a vSwitch. Don't cancel. You need to understand again, go back, refer the networking concepts. We understood that to create a separate switch, we need a physical port available on ESXi host. In enterprise environment, what they are going to do is, this is a migration. The migration is going to happen on the network from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. So whatever the vMotion traffic they are going to design, they are going to use separate network, separate IP address system to migrate the VM from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. For example, there is a 24 GB RAM system is there. That 24 GB RAM need to transfer from one ESXi host to another ESXi host over this vMotion network. So this vMotion network should be having maximum bandwidth. That's the reason in enterprise environment, they are going to create a separate switch to configure this vMotion network. As we are working on lab environment, we are going to use the existing network. Click cancel here, go to switch properties of existing switch, cancel here, okay? See here, the same thing is there. Click on properties. In the same management network, I can enable vMotion as well. Where to enable vMotion? Let's say select management network. See here, there's an options. vMotion disabled is currently showing as a disabled. Where it is disabled, I need to make that enabled. How to do that? Click on edit. See, vMotion checkbox is there. We need to select that checkbox. As it is a lab environment, I am using the same network for virtual machine traffic, the same network for management for traffic, same network for vMotion. In real-time environment, for each traffic, there is a separate network. Okay, click OK. Okay, so the vMotion has been enabled. Select refresh, just select other VM network, select VM network. Yeah, come back. See, it is enabled. vMotion is enabled. Click close. Now vMotion is enabled on one ESXi host. Am I getting this migration option? Let's see what is going to happen. Select right click on migrate. AD server, select right click migrate. Am I getting option or not? Right click. Wait for a moment. It is taking time. Migrate. Still it is not enabled. Change host is still not enabled. What is the vMotion funda is that the source and destination, because the VM has to migrate from source to destination. So To enable this change host option, both source and destination should be available to migrate this action. So click cancel, and I need to configure another ESXi host as well, this vMotion configuration. Then only the change host come into picture. Okay, cancel. Go to second ESXi host, go to configuration, enable vMotion. This is a navigation. Okay, where to go, how to go, and all those things. Management network, edit, enable. Then now vMotion configuration is done on both ESXi hosts. I'm ready to go to migration. Let's see if migration option is coming or not. See, here we go. That in a sense, vMotion configuration. Till now we discussed about what are the prerequisites. The what is important prerequisite is in addition to that all five, vMotion network should be configured on ESXi host source and destination. Then only I'm going to get an option change host. Okay. Now next, select next. Now I'm going to migrate this VM where this VID server is there in some data ESXi host, that is on lab 2, I think so. Let's select lab 1. See what is the error we are getting here. The VMX file is not able to access. Why? Because that VMX file, that VMDK file, all are residing on a local data store. That local data store is not accessible by other ESXi host. Okay, that's the reason it is throwing this error. It is not going to give an option to migrate. So that's the reason the storage, what are the storage, that VMX file, that what are the files are there, everything is in a local data store. That's the reason it is not enabled to migrate. Okay, so we configured vMotion network, but the storage, the requirement to perform vMotion, what is the 5 requirements? Storage also should be a shared storage. We need to migrate that first. Okay, cancel here. Go to right click of the server first. Edit settings, go to edit settings. Edit settings. Whatever the devices is mounted with the local system, all local system mount points we need to remove. For example, CD-ROM is mounted. Select CD-ROM. Select a client device. Yes. Click OK. For vMotion, what are these shared storage? We discussed about shared components, memory, CPU, RAM, and networking and storage, these 5 components. In addition to that, that VM should not bind any hardware component directly to respect to the ESXi host. If any hardware component mounted to respect to ESXi host, the migration is not going to allow, because if it is a mounted physical device is mounted on this particular ESXi host, it is not going to be shareable to other destination. So the vMotion is going to fail. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to perform a storage migration first. Let's complete the storage migration and see what is going to compatible. Let's do storage migration. Right click, migrate. Go to the internet, search vMotion and understand the topic of vMotion. And one more article, vMotion requirements. You should understand vMotion requirements. In what conditions I can perform vMotion. Migrate, choose data store migration, I can migrate two things. One is resources, CPU, memory, and everything. I can migrate from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. That is comes under vMotion. The second migration is coming into picture. That is storage migration. Storage vMotion we call it as. Okay. This server is currently running the storage server. That AD server is currently running on the some data store. What I'm doing, I'm migrating the content, the data files from one data store to another data store. This is also happening live motion. It is not going to impact anything on the live server. Select change data store. Next. Now I'm moving this particular data store from the local data store to shared data store. So select the shared data store. It is going to validate. It is going to compatible or not. It is going to check because the same data stores, both the data stores should be accessible to the local data store. Then only it is going to access. It is going to perform the action. It is going to check what are the content I am trying to migrate from the one data store to another data store. That both data stores should be accessible to that particular ESXi host. Then only it allows to migrate. It is a lab system. It is going to take up certain time. Okay. Once it is migrated, we are going to take in next session. Okay. Let's see. I selected shared data store. Click next. Validation succeeded. Select shared data store. Yes. So it is moving to current location to where is the host current location is the data store one. Now I'm moving the current VM contents, VM files from local data store to MSFT shared data stores. Click finish. Let's see how much time it is going to take. This storage migration and all those things are going to, if it is a SAN storage, it is a lightning fast. Okay, as we are working in lab environment, it is going to take some time. No issues. We fulfilled whatever the requirements to perform a vMotion. We are going to eschew the vMotion, how to migrate a VM. Okay, what are the components are required. We established all the components required to migration. Okay, once my vMotion is enabled, once the migration is enabled, then the concept comes in HA and DRS. HADRS is an automated process. Whatever the migration we are doing right now, it is manual migration. Without understanding manual migration, we are not in a position to configure automation. Automation in the sense the cluster feature. Cluster feature is what it is going to do. HA. HA is going to do failover. DRS, proactive approach. HA is a reactive approach. Okay, we can say that HA is a reactive approach. DRS is a proactive approach. How can I say that? HA, what is the function of HA? If any host failure, any hardware issue, one ESXi host fails, automatically it triggers the migration from one ESXi host to another ESXi host. That is, something happened. That is reactive approach. What is a reactive approach? HA, I can say that it's a reactive approach. What is a DRS? Resources, distributed resources scheduling. What it is going to do? It is going to migrate the VM to load balancing. If the utilization is very high on the respective ESXi host, the ESXi host may go down. To avoid that impact, it is going to take a proactive approach, identify where the resources are available, and start migration so that it is going to maintain a load balance to reduce the impact on overutilized server. So this DRS comes under as a proactive approach. One is a reactive approach, one is proactive approach, HA and DRS. This migration is going to take time. Let's complete. This session may going end in next 3 minutes. No issues. In next session, we are going to continue HA and DRS. before going for HA and DRS, we'll complete manual migration. Okay, once manual migration is completed, then HA and DRS features comes in picture, how to enable, what are the features are available. We'll configure all the servers in a shared storage. We'll create a shared storage, sufficient shared storage, and we'll move all these VMs from local data store to shared storage. Okay, this is a way we are going to migrate from the local data store to shared storage. We are going to create that shared storage, couple of data stores, and move all the VMs to shared storage. Okay. See you in next session. Bye. Take care.